Alderman Santee.
Here.
Alderman Glab.
Here.
Alderman McClatchy.
Here.
Alderwoman Bassey. Here. Alderman Strack.
Here.
Alderman Cook.
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller. Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this point, I'm going to come to the front here, and we have Michael Roberts here that has served for the Police Commission for 14 years. So I'd like to read this plaque. How times have turned, you know. Go to high school, I get a plaque for being the worst kid, and now I get to serve with this. Mike, can you come on? Mike has been a huge asset to the Police Commission, like I said, for 14 years. This plaque is hereby awarded to Michael Roberts in recognition of your professional conduct and significant achievements as the McHenry Police Commissioner from 2009 to 2023 in support of the McHenry Police Department. Your dedication has ensured that the McHenry Police Department will continue to maintain a standard of excellence in our community and for those we serve. Presented on behalf of the Mayor, myself, Chief Burke, and the members of the McHenry Police Department. Thank you.
I just wanted to say a few words. I've had the privilege of working with Mike since 2011, so for the last 12 years on the Police Commission, and I cannot be more proud of the quality of candidates and officers that we have interviewed and interviewed again and then selected, hired, and so many of them are still here making McHenry their home. So it is a daunting job to do. It takes a lot of dedication and a lot of follow through when you're interviewing 60, 70 people at a time and trying to really pick out those people that you think are going to represent McHenry well. And you did an amazing job at it. I'm honored to have had the opportunity to serve. Likewise.
Smile, Jonathan. Thank you.
Yay, Mike. Would you like to say anything?
You know, 14 years, Sue, 14 years ago, she was mayor, I was assistant principal. Boy, a lot has happened in those 14 years in terms of professional growth, and already 6 years into retirement. So I appreciate Sue bringing me on board as a commissioner. It's been nothing but a great time working with our command staff. Our command staff, folks, we hire the right people. You can hire people, but they got to be coached up. And they're coached up to be the best police force in America. I'm telling you that right now.
Yep.
That's all I got to say.
All right, next item on the agenda is a consent agenda. Is there any items that the council would like to pull for separate consideration? Alderman McClatchy?
Yeah, if there's nothing to be pulled, I will move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, Alderman McClatchy is approving, motion to approve 5A through 5K. Do you have a second? Alderman Santee?
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion by council? Alderman Glab.
Yeah, Mayor, something I probably should have called ahead of time. I just noticed that the fact that we don't have on the agenda public input. Maybe you ought to ask that real quick before we get started.
We'll do that. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment at this time? This is for items that are not on the agenda this evening. See none? All right, thank you. Thank you, Alderman Glab. All right, any other questions, comments regarding these items? Alderman Cook?
The rock salt. Oh, sorry. The rock salt, the 20% overage and everything else like that. It's 92.28 a ton. Okay, I didn't get, my iPad was goofing up, I didn't get to that.
Okay.
Okay, and, from Morton Salt, Chicago, Illinois, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I thought,
Good?
due to
Okay.
state bid is a little cheaper, I think, but
All right,
I have concerns. Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Ashe?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6A, is honorary street sign for Ed and Joan Bus. Joan Bus, sorry. A motion to approve a resolution designating the intersection of John Street and West Gulfview Road and honorary Ed and Joan Bus Way. Director Strange?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So I think the application speaks for itself. This was put in by the Granger family, who are here in attendance, and would like to say a few words on behalf of Ed and Joan Bus. As you're aware, we did put a moratorium on these signs last year, but given the direction of council, that we are making an exception for this one, which is obviously very, very meritorious. So, Mr. and Mrs. Granger, if you'd like to speak, please feel free.
Could you please step up to the podium? Yeah, sorry. Right here. Yep, closer and closer.
Well, I have to be on my tiptoes. Anyway, we're neighbors of Ed and Joni Butts, and we've kind of adopted them. And everybody knows about Ed and all the things that he did, but you know that behind every man there is a woman. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about Joni. She grew up on a farm, and there was her and her sister. So she was treated, you know, she knew how to drive a tractor, plow the field. She knew all about the tools. She knew how to use them, and she had them at her house. She was kind of the keeper of the house and the yard. She had her own ladder so she could get on the roof. She had all the tools to clean out the pool and any mechanical thing that had to be done. She had everything. And as they got older, they would go to Arizona for the winter, and she'd come back, and her ladder was gone. There were times that some of her tools were gone, and of course the children obviously did that. And so I said, Joni, just change the locks in your house so that they can't come in and take all your stuff away. But she was a little upset. The last thing she did was 2 summers ago. They have a bay window, and she needed to clean the window. So to clean it, she had to get in her sink. So she had her little ladder that they didn't take away yet. So she climbed on the counter, sat in the sink, and washed her windows. And, of course, she tried to get out and fell. Anyway, she was okay. But we appreciate we're getting this far, and we hope it works out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, at this time, I am looking for a motion and a second to approve 6A as presented. Alderman Santee?
I'd like to make the motion to approve the intersection of John Street and West Gulfview Road, as Honorable Ed and Joan Bus Way, as recommended by City Council.
Thank you. Second? Alderwoman Bassey?
I second.
Thank you. Discussion by City Council on this item? Alderman Santee?
Ruth, you stole some of my thunder. I had mentioned previously about, you know, Ed's background, youth basketball coach, Little League, football, basketball, baseball, county board chairman, board, I believe, president of McHenry Country Club at one time. One blank I didn't fill in, number of club championships. I don't recall. Is it 13? Okay. I had 11, so thank you, Dave, Mr. Granger. And then, like I said, Ruth, you stole my thunder. From a very reliable source, a couple of Joan's loves were cooking and baking, and one of her favorites, according to one of the children, is her angel food cake and Joan's cookies. that for some reason the kids called them Grandma's cookies. But I said, that's your mom. Yeah, we call them Grandma's cookies. So, okay. I just wanted to confirm it. And the number one boss in the house was Joan. So she ruled the roost, and a wonderful group, a wonderful family, and I'm so proud of this day, and I can't wait for the sign to appear at that corner. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other council members? Any other questions, comments? Alderman Glab.
Yeah. On our new program that we were supposed to have that hasn't come to fruition yet, where are we with that? You know, it would have been nice to have this honorary, well, wouldn't have been a street sign if whatever the replacement would have been. And this is for how long? 12 years, or how long?
The current policy is a 10-year.
10-year policy, so. All I'm saying is when we do come up with a new program that's supposed to replace this, that maybe this could be the beginning also of the new program that we would have to start it off, and anything else that might be approved after this that gets added to that new program.
Okay.
So, just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Santi, go ahead.
We can, like, retroact this, or to, if and when we get to that point, that we can attach this into that ordinance, or whatever we're going to do with the honorable street sign at some point in the future. That shouldn't be a problem.
You know, if that's to be determined.
Okay.
What you guys, whatever the city council decides in
Okay.
the future.
All right, thank you.
I understand that, but if we don't vote on it that way tonight, then it could slip through the cracks, or, you know, are we gonna,
It's whatever
you
you
know,
want to do tonight, and whatever.
I
you wanna
understand,
do.
I understand, Attorney McCardle, but what I'm trying to say is we want to make sure that, that this does move forward, and that, the program moves forward, and the fact that, again, how many are we going to go back to? If we start now, and with the motion that these go to the new program as well, then we're not going to be backtracking, you know, with all the others that get approved.
Sure.
So, just my thoughts.
Thank you. Go ahead, Bill.
I just was going to add that I had hoped to have a concept before you tonight, at least an initial, maybe not all the parameters of a program, but looking at a possible distinguished citizens wall in Green Street Park on the corner of Green Street and 120, right where the Tom Sullivan clock is at. We think we can better utilize that. It's a high profile. The landscape architect just did not complete the plans to have some concept before you, but I at least look to have that before you soon, to have some comments on, and then we can begin to mold what a new program looks like. But initially, what I had asked for them is something along the lines of a distinguished citizen wall that we could then add on to as we both choose to put the names of the people that had the honorary street signs on that, and as we move forward. Again, the parameters of the program are thinking we still have to work out, but at least conceptually to put something before you to have some input on and move forward with.
So we'll bring it back, once that information comes back to Bill, we'll bring it back for a discussion item at a later date.
And right now, Bill said it, but in case you missed it, right now, the recommendation would include, you know, a carryover of existing names also.
Any other questions, comments regarding this item? Open it up for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that'd like to make a public comment regarding this item? See none? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Glab?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Granger, for bringing the application forward. So we're happy to be a part of this, and we'll have the street sign out there soon enough, okay? Thank you. You know, more than you guys can go if you'd really like to go. It's not that fun. So have a good night. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is 6B, is a sign variance for Starbucks 904 South Route 31. I'm looking for a motion to approve a sign variance to Starbucks located at 904 South Route 31 to allow one additional wall sign and two additional menu boards not to exceed 48.75 square feet in area. Director Palarecki?
Thanks, Mayor, you just said it. So, our sign ordinance does allow for 2 wall signs on a building in this zoning. They are requesting 3. However, the total square footage that they're allowed, they will be under or right at, so they're not adding any more square footage, they're just adding an additional sign. And then the drive-through, they are asking for 3 menu boards, and they're asking for that to help expedite the drive-through process so that they can order and get through the drive-through and get that stacking, that stacking that we see at 120 reduced down. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. Looking for a motion and a second to approve 6B as presented. Alderman Miller?
I'll make the motion to approve 6B as presented to allow Starbucks additional square footage for signs.
Thank you. Alderman Strack for a second.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion by City Council? Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to state the fact that we have these sign regulations, and we have a variance for reasons. I know, I can recall Chase Bank when they built across from where the Starbucks on 120 is right now. They had to come in for a variance, and basically, in most cases, these chain places taken are all similar when they're built and signed as similar. So I can understand, how or why they have to come in for a variance, and I can totally support this. And I'm just glad that we do have the ordinances the way they're stated, so that we can allow things like this, but then we do have control on others.
All right. Any other questions, comments by council? See none? Open up for public input. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment regarding 6B? See none? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman Clatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes. Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6C, is a liquor license for Elvado Mexican Restaurant, 929 Front Street. I'm looking for a motion to approve a Class A liquor license at Elvado Mexican Restaurant located at 929 Front Street, and if approved, pass an ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 2, Alcoholic Liquor, Section 6, license classification and fees, approval authority, limitations on a number of licenses. As you all know, this is El Gordo changing hands to Elvado. The applicants are here for the liquor license and following by the gaming. So if you have any questions for the applicant, they can come up to the podium. I am looking for a motion and a second to approve. Alderman Strack?
Motion as presented.
Thank you. Second. Alderman Miller?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Discussion by City Council? Alderman McClatchy?
Yeah, Chief, everything looks good, background check, all that good stuff. Good.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
I have a question. This is a pronunciation question. Should it be Elvado? Elvado, yes. So with a V or a B? With a V. With a V. Okay, we're good. All right, sorry. It's my, introductory Spanish taken over in my head, so I'm all right. Just want to make sure I say it right next time. Thanks.
All right. I'm going to open up for public input. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment at this time? See none? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes. Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is 6D, a video gaming license for Elvado Mexican Restaurant, 929 Front Street. Based on the approval of agenda item 6C, a motion to approve a video gaming license to Elvado Mexican Restaurant located at 929 Front Street, contingent upon the execution of a video gaming development. once again, they do have gaming at this location at this time, or actually, it's not at this time. You did though, right? So, but because it's new owners, they have to reissue. Right, so they did have them existing at El Gordo, so. Looking for a motion and a second to approve 6D. Alderman, Miller?
I'll make the motion to approve 6D, to, again, put gaming in El Vado Mexican Restaurant.
Thank you. Second, Alderman Santee?
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Discussion by city council? Alderman Glad?
Yeah, as far as we know, I mean, basically, it's the same restaurant, just with different names and a different owner, right? So everything else is gonna be the same, so there are no major changes, so I don't see why there'd be any kind of a problem.
All right, thank you. Alderman Santee, go ahead.
So it lists, you're comfortable with 5 video gaming, that's what your plan is, terminals?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions, comments? Open up for public input. Is there anyone from the public that would like to make a public comment regarding this item? See none? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Miller.
Yes.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassey.
Yes.
Alderman Strack.
Yes.
Alderman Cook.
Yes. Thank you, council. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's the place for that.
All right.
Oh, where's
At least they didn't do it beforehand.
No tacos?
Margarita.
Is there tequila in the back?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like Christmas, Trish. It's all right, nice. Give the place for all those. Nice.
Man, look at you.
No.
All right.
thank you.
No, thank you very much. Thank you. Take care. All right. Next item on the agenda is 6E, is a professional services contract for the city's 2023 comprehensive and downtown plans. Looking for a motion to approve professional services contract between the city of McHenry and HDR Engineering Incorporated to draft a 2023 comprehensive plan and downtown plans. Director Palarecki?
Thank you, Mayor. So, HDR is here tonight, to give a brief presentation, so I'm gonna be short. But, this was included in this year's budget, and we did do the RFP, or RFQ earlier in the year, and chose HDR as the, for consideration to do our downtown plans. I want to thank council for understanding the importance of this planning document. I know it's a lot of money, but at the end, I think you'll be satisfied with what we get out of it. But I'm going to allow Jeff and his team over here, he's going to come up to the podium. He's got a brief presentation to give to you guys tonight before considering the approval of this service contract. So Jeff, you want to step up to the podium?
You can bring your gifts.
Yeah. If you just hit the middle button. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm very excited to be here. I'm Jeff Young. I'm a resident of actually the city of Crystal Lake, but I've been in McHenry County here now, I don't know, 25 years or something. You lose track after a while. With me today is our team. I'll introduce them in a little bit. You got the slide?
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
Just give me a nod, Jeff. And I'll-
Okay. So we're going to go over, who we are as HDR, our planning approach, as well as, what are we going to do to help this community, City of McHenry, move forward on this, and then talk about our schedule. So I'm Jeff Young, as I said, 27 years of experience. 16 of those years I was at McHenry County DOT, where I oversaw the last 3, and still currently at HDR now. We're doing the latest long-range plan for the county. I really believe firmly in integrating design with planning. You often hear the term plan-engineer. I think that's very important to understand how to plan, but then how things can actually be implemented. That's what we want to do with this project, is give you something at the end that's implementable. You're going to hear a lot about that. So the one thing I'm excited is that for this project, it's going to hopefully give the city of McHenry a clear path and direction that as you move forward, it's going to become actually a great placeholder and for other communities in McHenry County to see what you've done here for your community. So, Shai?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shai Roos. I'm an urban planner with HDR. I've got 26 plus years experience doing planning. I do comprehensive plans, downtown plans, zoning ordinances for cities. So municipalities are my clients usually, and I've worked in planning from all sides. So I started as a city planner, was a director of development services, worked for a land development company. So one thing I'm very passionate about doing these kind of projects, and I did the same type of projects from all sides. So to me, it is the community's plan. No plan, however brilliant consulting team creates, will ever be successful until we get the entire community to agree with it. And that is a challenge I really love and enjoy, is to see how happy people are when they see their ideas in the plan. All we do is show them as technical experts how best to get where they want. So that's one of my passions, and what I'm really excited about is to work with y'all staff. I talked to your staff, and I was so excited to work with such brilliant people with all the elements that a successful community needs. You all have it in your community, and then you have the staff you have as consultants. This would be a dream project, so I'm really excited about it.
John? So don't let the accent here fool you with John. He's actually been in Chicago for
Yeah,
couple decades.
despite what you might hear, my name is John Brook. I am an urban designer, landscape architect. I've been in this area for about 27 years in Chicago. I have about 30 years industry experience working with all kinds of clients, from municipal to healthcare and the U.S. government and private developers, and I've seen all sides of projects at all scales. So very excited to be part of this opportunity. The thing that excites me most about this community, I think it's got all the ingredients of a really successful community. We're excited to hear what you all had to say about it, the pieces of the community that exist, the resources we have, and figure out a great way to stitch it all together in a way that makes sense and a way to move forward for the next 30 plus years. So thank you.
And last is William.
Hello, everybody. I'm William Wellington. I'm a planner and urban designer. 2 years in Illinois, but 7 years working. I've worked in communities across the country, and echoing everything my colleagues said, the best part about these projects is meeting the people. And when we get out there and do community engagement, you find out how passionate people are about crafting the vision for their communities and their cities. And so I'm excited to get in there and help work with everyone to come up with a framework for the future of McHenry. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Next. So it's not just us four. We have a team assembled here of experts that we want to have working on this project specifically, whether it's for mobility, economics, the built infrastructure, whatever it is, that it's not just going to be us four, but rest assured that we've got the staff behind us helping you along with this project. So who is HDR? We are a international firm, so we do like to think globally. But at the same time, next slide, we do act locally. And so right now we're working on two projects in the county. We're working for the Village of Cary, and as I mentioned earlier, the county's long-range plan. We have 3 offices here in Illinois, Chicago, Rosemont, and then also downstate in Springfield. So as our philosophy is really key on involving this, and again, another word was mentioned, is listening. Want to make sure that we take what's the vision for the city and elevate that, make you excited for what this has. Reinvent smart. So a lot of times you can see plans replicated from one community to the next. While we've got base ideas, again, we want to engage you to create something new, a new vision, a new idea, what the city can become. So the 4 elements that really come together, whether it's the natural area, the land uses, the built infrastructure, all come together to create the urban form. And so our planning process for this project was going to be in 4 major phases: discover, define, develop, and then deliver. Next. And so we're going to be doing those, oh, there were 2 slides there, that's all right. There's one, we're doing the overall comprehensive plan for the city, but then also we're taking that same methodology for the downtown aspect as well. Public engagement to us is really key, as mentioned. One thing that we did with the county's long-range plan was what we call pop-up meetings. And we can have public meetings, advertise, hey, from 5 to 7 o'clock, come here and tell us your ideas. As we all know, that's very hard to get people to come out of their homes and come and invest some time on their own. So what we like to do is take the message to where the people are. We've done that with the county's long-range plan. We went to farmers markets, things like that. So we're looking to do the same thing here for this project, engage the residents where they are. And then also on top of that, one of the unique things that we're going to be doing is what's called the design charrette. Next slide. And it's going to be a 4-day event, working with city staff, key stakeholders, to make sure that we really get into the weeds here a little bit. And over those 4 days, we're going to, pick people's brains, think about what they like, what they don't like, and then during those days, we're actually going to then be taking those ideas and starting to show how that can manifest into something that's closer to reality, that actually can get into the plan. So it's not just tell us your ideas and then you see us 3 months later. That charrette is really designed to work interchangeably, almost in a live format over those 4 days. And then the final plan, we want to make sure that this plan is usable. And it's not necessarily us in this room, your staff here today, or even yourselves. We want to have a plan that's lasting, that the community can be proud of, but that future generations can look to this plan and say, what did we accomplish? Where are we going? And we know plans evolve over time, but we want to give a sound framework, a good foundation that this plan, that the city can build off of. So we want to make sure that the plan is usable. So the timeline for all this is probably about 18 months. There in the colors, you can see the different phases of the project. That first one, again, is going to be that listening. Second is doing that charrette, and then taking from all those, all that listening and all that engagement, then starting to develop recommendations, and then the last phase is for then putting it all together in a plan. So we are very excited, as I mentioned earlier. We already hit the ground running. We've developed some branding for the plan, whether it's for the overall city plan and then modified slightly for the downtown plan. And then, as we all know, that branding is very important. Next slide, Derek. So, all the documentations that you're going to be seeing is using this color palette and these fonts to really help create that synergy around and help build excitement for the project. And so with that, I'd like to entertain any questions you have, so thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions by council? Alderman Miller?
Well, first of all, I love the Vision 2050. It really makes you think, how far out are we planning for? And we all know, thank you, Cody, for my education, that the longer you look forward, the better the plan is. So thank you very much. I am excited about the prospects you're going to explore and discover. Thank you.
Alderman Strack, go ahead.
So this has probably been on my agenda for the 2 years that I've been here thus far, sitting in the Planning and Zoning Chair for 9 years with Doug and Cody and Ross and getting this push forward. This is a dream come true to be able to see this in front of us today. And it sounds like from what we're hearing tonight, this is what the city needs. We need a vision. We need an identity moving forward. We've been making decisions. I feel we've been making decisions for the last a lot of years without a real plan. And the identity that we're going to create with this should really be the last push we need over the edge to get this going. So really excited about it. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Alderman Santee, go ahead.
Oh, I look forward to working with HDR Engineering in this comprehensive plan. Also, one question, I just wanted to understand it, and maybe a couple examples. Tell me what you mean by community engagement in that part of the process.
Someone told me long ago, and it was actually probably when I started my career, was the old format of public engagement was what we call the DAD, design and defend. You go in a room and you think you have ideas and you design it, and then you present it to the public and you just sit there and defend it. And it's hard because you haven't gotten anyone's input throughout the process. And it's really flipping that. It's listening first. And so doing that engagement, whether it's, you know, the public at large, you yourselves, other key stakeholders, downtown business merchants, it's getting their involvement and their input first. And then you can help identify the path you're going to go forward.
But then how do you really actually engage them? I mean, where do you go to the business? Tell me what you do or how you go about engaging them, because at certain times they don't, you know, they're not interested. They're running a business and they're not interested, but how do you do that to get them at a higher comfort level?
Yeah. Shai, go ahead.
So we've really come up, it's a trial and error, of course, every community is different. But what we try to do is, we know when the businesses, heavy hours are. So what we'll try to do is catch them right after the rush has gone down. Or for developers, 7:30 to 9 in the morning breakfast meeting is when the developers are interested in coming out. You never go to restaurant owners or during lunch or dinner hours. So we try to keep the afternoon hours or open, or, you know, weekends when they can come and go. We usually try to also just, when they are on their downtime, we might go touch base with everybody at their place of business. We try to go to schools. So one of the things is you're looking forward to 2050. So where will the kids today who are in, say, middle school or high school be in 2050? Whenever we go, they're the people for whom you're making the plan today. So we try to involve the school kids in it and the high school kids in planning for their own future. So we try to go to, say, political science classes or social studies classes, and the teachers are really excited to let us come. Parents, if you do something in the cafeteria and send a notice in the kids' backpacks, the parents will make an effort to come out. We try to involve the kids in the public meetings also, so we'll have visual character surveys. So, you know, kids can see a picture and say whether they like it or not. Or we'll have a drawing competition for the kids. So what we found is every time you get the kids involved, you'll get the parents and the grandparents and the neighbors all involved. You try to make it not boring, so, you know, have maybe dinner or make it pleasant so the whole family can come out. And instead of calling it a meeting, I was told this by one city secretary in a town. She's like, Shai, this is so boring what you've written. I would never want to go here after work. You're calling it a meeting, you've lost me already. So she wrote up, you know, come meet with, talk to us with your neighbors and, you know, your family and neighbors, and let's all design your future together while we eat and visit. Well, we got 2,000 people at this meeting, which I keep calling a meeting, but we called it an event, and we got 2,000 people. The kids were there. I saw the mayor dancing in the parking lot because that town had never had more than 5 people come out for any meeting. And so we try many different things, and, you know, some may not work. We'll keep coming back to you all. You know your community better. So we'll take your input on how best to get and reach every part of your community.
Thank you.
Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Have you reached out to the chamber yet?
No.
Okay, that is a trove of information. They will help you out. Contact Molly with the chamber, and I think that would be a good first start, because they got contacts, they got everything for all the businesses. And I would like to make a motion that we approve the professional services for HDR.
All right, second. Alderman Strack.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Any other discussion by council? Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a lot of money that we're talking about for this plan. I've sat here and looked at comprehensive plans that we've done in the past and other types of plans, and then they don't follow through. So I would just bring up the fact that whatever the results are on this, figuring that this is going through, that we make sure that it is tweaked to our best benefit to where we follow through with a plan, because it would be nice to actually approve a plan and actually follow through the whole thing all the way through. So, that's all I've got.
Thank you. Alderwoman Bassi?
I would just like to thank you for including the younger people. I think it's so important to listen to what they have to say about the future also. So, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Open up for public input. Is there anyone from the public that'd like to make a public comment on this item? See none? Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bassi?
Yes.
Alderman Cook?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miller?
Yes.
Thank you, council, and thank you to HDR. We look forward to working with you. Appreciate it. All right. Next item on the agenda is MS4 History and Annual Update. Director Strange?
Thank you, Mayor Jett. By now, many of you have sat in on this annual update, so I won't take too much longer introducing Russell. But basically what the MS4 permit is we have operating permits for our water plants and our wastewater treatment plants. We also have to have what's called an MS4 permit, which is basically an annual permit that we update, which allows us to discharge runoff stormwater drainage into public waters. And for those of you who've sat through this before, we used to present it in Public Works Committee meetings. Last few years we presented it in front of City Council. This year's update, I would say Russell in his new role has added a really good touch of professionalism to this PowerPoint presentation. It's probably the best one you guys will have seen to date. So I will turn it over to Russ.
I got you. No pressure.
Wow. No pressure. Thank you, Troy. You pretty much took my introduction. Thank you, Mayor, council members. I just wanted to give you a little background, a little explanation on why I'm here and what this is. And as Troy mentioned, the city has several permits issued by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. We have a permit to discharge our wastewater effluent, and then we have several permits to discharge stormwater throughout town. One of the permits, the stormwater permit that we're going to discuss tonight, is the MS4 permit. One of the requirements of that permit is to give a public, an update, status update in a public meeting as to what we've accomplished with regards to our stormwater program in the previous year. So in the past, I've been doing this for about 12 years now. It started in the Public Works Committee. I would come and give a little presentation about what we accomplished, and recently it has moved into the City Council. So as Troy mentioned, I've had the opportunity to refine this a little bit. I've been working with the AP Science class at the high school. If you'll notice the kids, that's what this was designed for, was the AP Science class. They're very interested in this. As a matter of fact, we have 40 students showing up tomorrow at the wastewater plant to discuss this and wastewater treatment. Before we start, though, the update, I just want to give you a brief rundown on what we've accomplished this year. So far, in calendar 2022, we cleaned 1,443 feet of storm sewer. That's a little bit more than we did the previous year. We also cleaned 222 catch basins, and we spent 127 man-hours cleaning creeks. Now, you're probably wondering what all this has to do, but it really does dovetail into pollution and stormwater. Everything that we're doing, and I just mentioned, helps keep pollution and pollutants from entering the waterways, which is what we're all about. So with that, we can start with this. What is an MS4 community? An MS4 community is one that has a separate transportation system for its wastewater and its stormwater. And if you'll notice on streets, every one of the storm drains is what you see in the curbs and the gutters. Every single one of those goes somewhere and discharges to an outfall that we have to inspect. So there's quite a bit that goes on with that. MS4 history, the Clean Water Act was established as the basic structure for, as the basic structure for, oh, you know what? It might be better. I'm having a hard time seeing this. If you don't mind,
Here,
I can just.
here, just take this. You can just operate it, yeah. You can just deal with it, yeah. It's like perfect. I'm off the hook.
Yeah.
Just hit the
Relax,
arrows.
sit back, relax.
Just hit the arrows, Russell, the forward and
Yep.
backwards on that.
So the Clean Water Act was established as the basic structure for regulating discharges of pollutants into waters of the United States and regulating quality standards of surface waters. The basis for the Clean Water Act was enacted in 1948 and was called the Federal Water Pollution Control Act. But the act was significantly reorganized and expanded in 1972. The Clean Water Act became the act's common name with the amendments in 1972, and we recently celebrated 50 years of the Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act made it unlawful to discharge any pollutant from a point source into a navigable waters unless a permit was obtained. This spawned the creation of the EPA's National Pollution Discharge Elimination System, or NPDES, which you hear us speak about quite often in public works. This system grants and manages permits that allows discharges into the navigable waters. Now, point source, we discussed point source in the last slide. Point source pollution is defined by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency as pollution as any single identifiable source of pollution from which pollutants are discharged, such as a pipe or factory smokestack. Factories and sewage treatment plants are two common types of point source pollution. And you'll notice the picture there in the lower right-hand corner is the City of McHenry's wastewater treatment facility. Very nice aerial shot. Now, non-point source pollution generally results from land runoff, precipitation, atmospheric deposition, drainage, seepage, or hydraulic modification. Non-point source pollution, unlike point source pollution, can come from many diffused sources. This is fertilizer runoff, agricultural runoff, pet waste on property, on public grounds, road salt, when we salt the streets, that is a non-point source pollution, as that salt dissolves and goes out into the environment. So stormwater and pollution, how does that all come together? Well, the Clean Water Act amendments of 1987 established the NPDES stormwater program. The NPDES, in addition to granting and managing permits that allow discharges into navigable waters, also manages stormwater runoff and pollution discharges associated with it. This is managed through the issuing of permits to municipalities, industries, and construction sites to cover the stormwater runoff. So how was the MS4 permit put into effect? It was phased in. There were two phases of the approach. Phase 1 started in 1990. That regulation required medium and large cities, or MS4s, to obtain, or counties, MS4s, or certain counties with populations of 100,000 or more, to obtain an NPDES permit for their stormwater discharges. Currently, there are approximately 900 Phase 1 MS4s. Phase 2. The regulations were phased in along with our wastewater permit. So every 5 years, we have a permit to discharge our wastewater. And when Phase 2 was put into effect, that was written into our permit as it became available. So the March 2003 Phase 2 regulation required small MS4s to obtain NPDES permits for coverage for their stormwater discharges. Phase 2 also included non-traditional MS4s such as public universities, departments of transportation, hospitals, and prisons. There are approximately 6,700 Phase 4s. As I mentioned, the permits last for 5 years, wastewater permits, stormwater permits, most of the IEPA permits last for 5 years. At the end of that time, you have to fill out what is called a Notice of Intent for Renewal, or NOI. It's basically an application saying that you want to continue coverage of the permit. Best management practices are the methods and means that the MS4 community uses to control stormwater runoff. So the MS4 consists of 6 minimum control measures, and there's BMPs associated with each one of those control measures. These control measures must be evaluated yearly and adjusted as needed to achieve the goals of the control measure. I'm going to go over each one of these control measures briefly. Number 1 is public outreach and education. We are to develop and distribute educational material to the public that shows how activities on private and public lands impact stormwater runoff and the polluting of stormwater. The City of McHenry, along with this, has developed and printed a brochure called After the Storm. It is designed for the homeowner, for the residential person, and it describes basically how they can prevent stormwater runoff and pollution on their property. This is, again, the fertilizer, the dog waste, keeping those things sort of picked up and tidy. Secondly is the public participation and involvement. Municipalities are required to develop and implement a public participation program. I have my notes here, I can't remember everything. The City of McHenry partners, there we go, with the Environmental Defenders of McHenry County and the Boone and Dutch Creek Watershed Alliance. Every year we participate with these people. We help them do a cleanup of Boone Creek. We supply them with trash bags, personnel when we can, and any sort of help that we can assist them with. Illicit discharge detection and elimination. We developed and implemented and enforce a program to detect and eliminate illicit connections and discharges into the stormwater system. Public Works employees have been very helpful in this segment. We show them what this is, and out every day in their jobs, they're coming across people draining pools, people pouring things down storm sewers. Every year, I probably get 4 or 5 calls from Public Works employees that are out in the street and they see something that is suspicious and needs to be checked out. This is also something that I am going to be crafting a newsletter, not newsletter, excuse me, a story for the next newsletter. This is really important. This is something that can impact our waterways very quickly. So illicit discharge detection and elimination is key. Number 4 is management of construction site runoff control. Develop, implement, and enforce a program to reduce pollutants in stormwater runoff from construction sites. Community development is very helpful in this matter. They have certified stormwater inspectors that inspect all construction sites. They go out before the job starts. They go over things. They stop back there during the construction, make sure all stormwater management controls are in place. They also provide me with a report of all the construction and stormwater management that they have done that I can then submit in our yearly report. So besides
you.